Hello, geeky types. It's me, the old geek, and I'm having a browse through a magazine again. Uh, as you know, I've been going through, well, most of you should know, I've been going through The Dragon, and I'm in 1977 with The Dragon, 7 or 8 issues in, and I had a look at White Dwarf 1, which came out in the summer of 77. And White Dwarf got off to a much better start than Dragon did. Certainly, the first issue of Dragon was way behind the level White Dwarf came at, but by sort of mid 1977, they're very much at a par. That first edition of White Dwarf was about as good as sort of Dragon 7 or 8. So they're neck and neck, which is good to see. Bit of competition in the market. But White Dwarf did get off to a really, really promising start. So let's see what issue 2 had in store. This was August and September 1977. And something White Dwarf has done very well, better than Dragon, is presentation. That first edition, issue of White Dwarf had good artwork. And they don't go for the garish colour splat that Dragon had. No, they're going for a monochrome look. And again, this is the cover. 50p for this, which was $1.50. How much were they charging for Dragon? At $2? $1.50? $2? About the same. About the same. Anyway, this is the cover. And look at this. This is way, way beyond what Dragon was putting on its covers. This is okay. I don't think it's quite as good as the first White Dwarf cover image, but I like this. Rippling muscles, blood dripping from a sword, little demon creatures. There's a evil sorcerer in the corner. Nice dynamic, good quality art. Good quality art. I like this. Do like that. Right, okay. Of course, the adverts will be British ones, so I'm going to bring you up to speed with a few of these. 4000 AD. Well, Waddington's House of Games, that's a familiar company for me. They made a lot of board games when I was a kid. Don't know if they're still about nowadays, but a lot of the games I got were Waddingtons when I was a kid. Avalon Hill Starship Troopers. Tally Ho Games. Tally Ho. What ho. That's a London shop by the looks of things. And Ogre, Steve Jackson game. I think Steve Jackson did Ogre, I believe. Or did he take over? Game Centre, that's Kingston upon Thames, that's London as well. And then we've got games, War Games, Fantasy Games, Avalon Hill, Games Design Workshop, TSR and more. That's Liverpool. That's Liverpool. Okay. So these games shops are popping up now. I don't remember seeing these when I was a kid. I wasn't interested in them. Might have been 5, I'm nearly 6 at this point, beetling up and down on my little bike, climbing trees, kicking a ball, annoying the neighbours. Okay. So we have an intro from Ian Livingston. Traditional wargamers, tabletoppers in particular, have for some time been looking down their noses at D&D and science fiction, fantasy games in general, considering themselves above, as they put it, such childish nonsense. What makes them act in such a superior manner? Could it be a lack of understanding on their behalf? Science fiction fantasy gamers who, for the most part, started off in war games, understand that wargamers do not seek to revel in blood and gore when they play their games, but are merely pitting their strategical and tactical wits against each other whilst having fun. Yeah. Yeah. And he goes on to talk about, do role-playing games lack skill? Of course they don't. There's different types of skill: improvisational skill, storytelling skill, and you've got imaginative skills, you've got tactical skills, resource management skills, all sorts, and you've got to put them all into play for a game to work. Different balances of skills, but yeah, it just depends on the game. Depends on the game. Nice hot cup of tea. If a tea company ever wants to sponsor me, I drink about 6 cups of tea a day. Proper Brit. Tea companies. Your hand in your wallets. Pound a video. Right. Okay. Okay. Let's see what else we've got in here. Competitive D&D. Scoring by Fred Hemmings. Figures review. Green Planet Trilogy. Before the Flood. Science fiction fantasy games reviewed. Monster Mark system. Oh, that was that really overcomplicated system they did before. Revised Monster Stables by Don Turnbull, still pushing that. Okay, treasure chest and a miscellany of D&D editions, letters classified and help. Okay, let's see what we've got. Let's have a little look. Competitive D&D. If in White Dwarf 1, I explained the problems that exist when setting up a game of competitive D&D. This time I intend to concentrate on pre-roll characters and the system used to allocate points. Yeah, in a tournament setting, you have to have pre-roll characters. And it has to be the same characters provided for each group who are taking part. And there are various scoring systems. I remember seeing, the Slavers series had a scoring system. There's a scoring system. Ooh, where else have I seen them? C2 certainly got a scoring system in it. C1 must have one somewhere. Yeah, of course it's got to have one somewhere. The one that sticks in mind most for me is the Slavers one, though. But yeah, certain achievements. You got your list there. Find the Yellow Brick Road, avoid Wyndham's trouble, play the flower game, drink at the spring of Yggdrasil, recover the sacred Ankh, cross the bridge of Khazad-dûm. What's the highest scoring one on there? Erase all traces of Monty Python. Yeah, 500 points to erase all traces of Monty Python. Of course, this was the late 70s when Monty Python were really in their heyday. Yes, indeed. Still going on now, all the Monty Python comments. What's a gaming session without the odd Monty Python comment? But personal targets. Oh, yeah, okay. I think this is better done as a group exercise rather than personal. You have a winning party because you are trying to work as a team. So drop the personal targets. I have taken part in competitive role playing, but there was no point scoring. You just voted at the end of the session for the most constructive role player, the person who best played their character and contributed towards the entire session. That's with Call of Cthulhu. I've done that 4 or 5 times. I've never got past the first round. You get some really good role players in that. They're really, really good. I learnt quite a lot playing with those guys. Hopefully in a couple of months again. So there is explaining the system. Nice little bit of artwork. Right, and here's an example as well on how the dungeon worked and how the party was expected to proceed. Because, competition dungeons do tend to be quite linear. Part of the problem. Points are gained as follows for each of your characters who survive. For each of your characters who survive and return to the cellar within the hour. For each magic item per character at the game's end. For each magic item correctly identified. You are only allowed one attempt at this each time and will not be told whether or not you are correct. For standing on the different levels. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Don't waste time, an hour goes very quickly. Yes, it does. Our OSE game on Saturday, 9 hours. Games Workshop, Uxbridge. Let's see what's new in. Judge's Guild, City State of the Invincible Overlord, £6.50. Tegel Manor, £3.50. Judge's Shield, £1.50. £2 for a game, £1.50 for a game. Don't you just wish it could be like that again nowadays? What? Yes, I know, inflation. Stellar Conquest, never heard of it. Asgard Miniatures, reviewed by Ian Livingston. Game shop in Warsaw, near me, called Asgard Games. Vince, who runs it, is a very nice chap. Okay, Asgard Miniatures. A little review of them. They look like miniatures. It looks like they've got fat heads by the looks of things. Pictures aren't great, so I can't really make it out, but they do look like they've got quite fat heads. £12p for a miniature FD1 dwarf with two-handed axe or hammer. Or hammer. 12p. I forgive them having a fat head for 12p. £1 for the dragon. That's that one there. How big is it? Oh, it says this unfortunately is the worst figure in the whole range. There's nothing much about it to justify the price. Not much detail, the pose looks wrong and the eyes are terrible. Still, it's another dragon and some people will like it. He doesn't like that. 2 giant rats for 12p. 6p each for a giant rat. That's these little ones at the end. Okay. Yeah. I'd have spent my pocket money on those. Not that I got, but I was 5. How much pocket money I got when I was 5? I can't remember. I might have got 10p a week? No. That's over-egging it. I can't remember what I got. The Green Planet, trilogy of games reviewed by Lewis Pulsifer, who was, of course, one of the contributors to the Fiend Folio. But Green Planet is... looks like it's a bit sci-fi, a bit sci-fi-ish. Not my shtick. So I'm going to zoom through because I'm, you know, it looks and sounds like it's a bit sci-fi-ish. It's a review anyway. No, maybe it's not, because this land battle thing here does mention, I see the Siege of Minas Tirith. So maybe it's just a system for simulating battles. It does. Oh, right, okay. It says laser fire, gunpowder fire, movement, melee. So laser fire's there. So it's a mixed genre game. But I don't particularly want lasers and gunpowder on the same battlefield. That ain't my thing. Next issue. Due to lack of space, we regret that we were unable to print Lewis Pulsifer's D&D campaign series this issue. Back to normal next issue, which will include colouring Conan's Fuse, solo dungeon mapping, the Monster Mark system. Drop the Monster Mark system. It failed in issue 1. It was the worst bit of issue 1. Give up with it. Competitive D&D. I don't mind reading about that. D&D campaigns, philosophy. Fine, yes. Treasure chest. Yeah, good. Just give over with Monster Mark. Anyhow, let's have a look. Before the Flood. What's before the flood? Talking about World Science Fiction Convention. What's he doing? Midgard. It looks like it's a big board game of some sort. Okay. Whatever. Open box. A review of Ogre. Good points, inexpensive, pocket size, quick, adaptable. Bad points, flimsy equipment. It's £1.95. Yeah, that is Ogre, yes. It's £1.95. Dice needed. Like, duh. Weak infantry. Title. Oh, okay. They don't like the fact that it's called Ogre. Well, funnily enough, that title has stuck for 46 years. And there have been better named adventure games come and go, and still Ogre exists. 8 out of 10 is pretty good anyway. Lankmar, that's a bit more expensive. That's £6.95, £7. What do they reckon to that? Only 6 out of 10. Good points, weapon variety, atmosphere, presentation, clarity of rules. Clarity of rules for an old game? What? That's unheard of. Bad points, unit stacking, luck factor, combat system dissimilar to book. So it doesn't follow the Lankmar feel very well. Okay, fair enough. War of the Star Slavers. Okay, sci-fi, £9. Any good? Oh, no. No, it's rubbish. 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. Tunnels and Trolls. I remember Tunnels and Trolls. Years since I've seen a Tunnels and Trolls book. £1.75. Let's have a little look and see what they give it. Tunnels and Trolls advert here as well. That's well placed. Any review? No, there's no review score. Oh, that's a shame. I can't remember the rules for TNT. I remember it being fun a few times I played it. Monster Mark system. Last issue I explained the Monster Mark system and its application to determining monster malignity, in the hope that the tedious but necessary arithmetic. You may be good at maths, but it's arithmetic, not arithmetic. Sorry, Don. Hasn't put you... Yes, it has actually. Sorry, Don. It has put me off. Put me off forever. Don't want to know. You wrote good adventures, but that article was just crap. It was too much. Far too... Look at this. Bloody high-level maths, physics, whatever. No. You don't need all these formulae for games. At the weekend, I played OSE. I ran a game of OSE. No need for any of this. The most complicated bit was working out hit rolls using good old-fashioned Thaco. And that's not complicated. That is just simple subtraction. I mean, reaction rolls on a 2d6. Monster lethality based on hit dice and special abilities. Nothing more. No need for any issues. It just ran beautifully and smoothly. You don't need faff like this in a game. Get rid of it. I know we're nerds. I know we're supposed to love our crunch, but you don't need it. Hello, cost mail order specialists. Place in Surrey. Dungeons and Dragons, Lankmar. Okay. £6.75 for D&D. God's Fire, 3-dimensional war game. That one came and went by the looks of things. Treasure chest, new magic item, needle of incalculable power. What does it do? This needle looks like an ordinary sewing needle. It is usually found in a velvet-lined wooden box. It possesses whatever power the finder suspects of it of having. E.g., if a player thinks it is a needle of disintegration, then for him it will always be a disintegrator, and nothing else. However, any other player may have his own power for the needle, including harmful powers. E.g., if the player believes the needle on picking up to be poisonous, he would have to make his saving throw against poison. I like that. Yeah, once they work out what it does, then yeah, that could go silly. But I do like that idea. I wonder if it's poisoned. As soon as they say that, it is poisoned. The needle cannot have the same power for two or more characters. Okay. It's a bit of a pain to run. Looks things. Each time a power is used, a character's own energy is greatly used, and a deduction of five prime requisite points from the character must be made. This loss of energy, PR points, cannot be regained for a month. So you lose 5 points off your prime requisite for using it. Ouch. For a month. Ouch. Ouch. Still, I do like the idea of it being inert until somebody says, I wonder if it does this. And if it does that, it does it. It doesn't do that for anybody else. That's quite good. Right. The Scientist by Dave Langsford. Oh yes, because they had the pervert last edition. The Sage Figgis has anxiously observed a new class among us scientists. The prime requisite for this strange breed is scientific approach, calculated by adding intelligence to wisdom, divided by 2, and subtracting the square root of the difference between the dexterity and charisma. Scientists, it seems, like to do things in the most complicated way. I refer you back to the monster mark system. Was Don Turnbull a scientist? Yet they insist upon precision, and to this end will fight only with edged weapons, e.g. a +1 scalpel, cursed steel rule, and sarcasm. Their tatty lab coats, thickly padded with notes on old envelopes, count as armor class 8, but a critical hit upon the pocket calculator scores double damage. Don't you be touching my pocket calculator now. It cost me a lot of money. Yes, it was the 70s when pocket calculators were a status symbol. The most used power is skepticism, destructive of all illusion and some realities. High-level scientists have even deadlier abilities. A professor of mathematics, for example, can translate his foes into Hilbert space with but a gesture of the pencil. I've no idea what Hilbert space is. To balance the might of science, the chaotic powers of anti-science exist in equal strength. Let's have a little look. The levels. Illiterate. Graduate. Experience points. Is that pi? Technician. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, scientist and anti-scientist. Okay, so you've got illiterate, graduate, still illiterate, technician, Luddite, programmer, astrologer, researcher, administrator, PhD, pop singer, professor of biology, Jehovah's Witness, professor of mathematics, football supporter, professor of physics, sociologist. I was forced to study some sociology when I was at university. God, it's crap. Polymath, no idea what those is. Von der Nyken, no idea what that is. No idea. Anywho, there's always a bit of humour with that. There was humour with the pervert last edition, and that I like that. I think that's funny, especially the PhD pop singer, professor of biology, Jehovah's Witness, and professor of mathematics, football supporter. I decided that's yeah. Be chuckling about that for the rest of the day. New monsters for use in wilderness campaigns by Ian Livingston. Spine scale. Mm-hmm. It's a spiny froggy thing. Frog mutation. Okay, that's up. Yeah, scary frogs lurking in the pond. Oh, hang on, look. I remember these went into Fiend Folio. Dune Stalkers. Yes. The Ning. Yeah. But it's Albie Fiore, the artist for that one, and he drew some of the art for the Fiend Folio. He didn't do the best art for the Fiend Folio. Sorry, that was Ross Nicholson. But that art style was in the Fiend Folio, and I can see him here. No idea what a Ning is, though. Created like the Doomstalker by exiled evil priest. Oh, he kept inside a corked flask, so they're like a genie. Okay. Oh, they hypnotise people. Oh. So they're a nasty genie. Right, okay. Giant caterpillar. Bit bigger than a giant centipede. Somewhat more scary. If I was in my garden, one of those reared up from behind the bushes, I'd leg it. I leave a trail of poo behind me as I ran as well. Bloodhawk. They are still in the game to this day. First time I saw them in an adventure was UK5, Eye of the Serpent. They're in the Fiend Folio, and they still exist in 5th edition to this day. So this is a little bit of history. 46 years ago, the first appearance of the Bloodhawk. They were just aggressive big birds. Small interruption. In my previous article, What's Wrong with D&D, this is Lawmaster of Avalon. It might be Avalon because Avalon had one L. In my previous article, What's Wrong with D&D, I gave the reasoning behind my changes to the D&D systems. Yeah. Every DM tinkers. Selection of personal characteristics. Oh, is this some form of early point buy? Listen to this. To keep the game fair, I wanted only small differences to occur between the most important characteristics of different player characters. God. Point buy creeping in 1977 or something similar to point buy. Ay, 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 ay. I'm not going to go into much more detail on that one. I don't like point buy type things. I like a bit of randomness. I like variability. I like a chance to have characters of differing abilities, different styles, and different effectiveness. It causes different ways of playing. I don't know what these symbols are for. Yes, okay. I've already switched out on this article. Dear White Dwarf letters page, congratulations on the high standards set by the first issue of White Dwarf. Yes, it was good. It was good. Although I enjoyed the article on Metamorphosis Alpha, I didn't read it, and I bought the game as a result. I haven't. I was rather irritated by the suggested gravitational effects chart. Irritated? How very nerdy. In the book Orphans of the Sky, the gravitational effect was in fact a centrifugal force caused by the ship spinning on its own axis. This is a well, actually. Nerd. You've had them forever. Doesn't matter. Were all gamers in the 70s called Graham Reynolds, Graham Buckle? We're going to spoil it. Adrian Bolt. Okay. Sadly, no trio of Grahams. Okay, let's have a little look. Classifieds. Okay, yeah. Bit of a advert. Help. Clubs. Look at this. Look, I don't know if you'll see if I highlight it. D&D Birmingham. Everybody welcome to explore Birmingham's only resident dungeon. You might find a couple down the red light district. Only joking. Contact Gary Britton, 45 Waddington Avenue, Great Bar. It's about a mile away from me. B43. It's just round the corner from me. doubt he's still there. Should I go knock on that door? Shall I go for a walk to 45 Waddington Avenue, knock on the door and say, hello, is that Gary? Do I dare? No, John. Don't do something stupid. Don't do something stupid. Ealing Games Group, that's London. That's London. Games Workshop price list. All the various miniatures. Already had a really big range of miniatures. And if you're interested in... Oh, this is a big advert. St Anne's Court, London. Dark they were, and golden eyes. Oh, it's sci-fi. It's sci-fi. It ain't my thing. But that's the back cover advert. That's a big expensive advert. That's quite impressive, apart from the fact that it's not easy to read. But yeah, that would catch the eye. If you're interested in, well, to be honest, if it's sci-fi, I'm not really. If you'd have put hobbits and dwarves and wizards on there, I'd have been like, yeah, I'm interested. Anyway, that was the second issue of White Dwarf. And it's not as good as the first. I don't think there was as much constructive in there. The first was really, really good, apart from Monster Mark. And they've continued with Monster Mark, which is nonsense. It felt short. In fact, yeah, it is only 24 pages. What was the first one? Was the first one 32 pages? Because this feels short. It feels empty. So, issue 1 was excellent. Issue 2, disappointing. Currently, Dragon is going in the right direction, but White Dwarf has taken a big step back. Let's see in a few weeks' time when I browse through issue 3 and the next Dragon. Let's see if those trajectories continue. Until then, I've been the Old Geek. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon.